Hi, goalies, goalie parents, and goalie coaches. Welcome to the Goalie Podcast. We're joined with our special guest today, Hailey Rock, and our incumbent, John Corrado. Hailey, we're so excited to have you. Welcome to the podcast.
Wow, thanks for having me.
I'll give you a little bit of background on Hailey. If you're not familiar with her, Hailey is the athletic trainer for the New York Sirens of the PWHL. She also worked in the Professional Women's Hockey League of Russia, which I didn't know existed, and worked as well in China and as a part of the U.S. Women's Olympic Hockey Team.
Actually, the Chinese.
Oh, it was the China. Oh, I thought it was the U.S.
No, it was Team China.
Oh,
I was
Team
representing
China.
the whole home country.
Oh, fantastic. That's another take of that. So you didn't win a gold medal then?
No.
Far from it, I'm sure.
Far from, but it was a really good experience. It was a lot of fun. I mean, the team, I think, did a lot better than what I think a lot of people thought Team China was going to do going into the Olympics, especially as the host country. So I had a lot of fun. I'm really proud of all the girls that I worked with.
Oh, that's awesome. And John, we're going to do what we always do, as we just run with what our guests give us, because I got to talk to you about working in China. And so it was really interesting. So I worked in Mannheim, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that they always say about working in Germany is when you're coaching in Germany, you got to be very specific. Okay. So working with their athletes, they want to be told exactly where to go. The thing is, like, they don't have a lot of creativity within what you give them. They want to be explained exactly what it is. So it's a little different than coaching here. And being an athletic trainer in China, is that different than working with the athletes there, working with the athletes here?
Oh, it's so different.
Okay.
So fortunately for me, when I was in China, I did have I had some North American players, so girls that were also from like the US, Canada, and Europe on this team as well. But I also had Chinese-born players. They've only ever been in China. And China's its culture in itself is very, very different from North American culture. So for me, it was a huge learning curve, actually, on how to be really understanding of not only their culture, but their way of life. And it's very, very different to what we're used to here. So my experience over there was very eye-opening and makes you really thankful sometimes for the things that we have here that they don't have there. Their medicine and just style is a lot different. So I don't know if you guys know a little bit about Chinese culture. They're very like holistic, mind, body, and soul. And that's a lot of what they bring into their practices over there. It's not as like here in North America and even parts of Europe. It's a really like research and science based on why we do things. For them, it goes back centuries in their culture. So they love like their acupuncture, their needles, their Tai Chi, all of these other types of things to deal with injuries and illnesses that I'm used to dealing with a lot differently.
And their aversion to just taking medication for everything.
Medication, teas, as simple as one time, one of my players was having some just normal GI stuff going on. They were adjusting to the food and all that over there. She was North American. I was at the time working with a Chinese doctor, and their idea was that she needed to drink tea and hot water to help with the stomach. So it was, again, finding the balance of understanding the things that they're utilizing in their type of medicine, but also trying to bring in my own. So that
must have been very, very, it's a different world, a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
John, we've had in the Bridge program, we've had some Asian kids, and their commitment level and their attention and focus, and this is generally speaking, has way surpassed the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
Attention to detail, commitment to excellence. Like, they just want to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not afraid to do the same drill 50 times before they get it right.
Yep.
which has always impressed me. It's not enough to just go through a drill. They want to know why they do the drill. They want to know how to do it right, and they'll do it over and over until they get it right. And then that commitment carries over to the classroom too with those kids too.
Sure.
They're just naturally curious, and they want to get better at whatever they're doing.
So my experience has been, when you talk about the academic or the classroom, so I had one of the kids, and we do online learning in our academy here. One of the kids did 2 school years in 1 year. So while everybody else was doing 1 year, that student did 2 years and then went on to one of the best prep schools in the country, or if not the world. And so, they don't mess around.
Mm-mm.
And in terms of, dealing with them from a personal standpoint, did you have to talk to them, learn how to speak and communicate with them? Forget the language thing, but just as from a culture, learn how to speak with them and be able to work with them?
I mean, a little bit. The language barrier was tough. I was fortunate where there was a handful of the girls that knew very good English and would act as a translator for me.
Okay.
And then just throughout my time with them, they would teach me like little phrases here and there and to get by and communicate with them. And for me, it was just building a trust with them because, again, working with somebody like me they've never worked with before, who wants to do a very North American style treatment, and like rehabs and the style that I do here is very different than them just taking a medication and meditating and all that style of medicine that they like to do.
Not to interrupt you, but have you brought any of that back here? What you learned over there, and brought it back here and used it, in the women's professional league?
I don't necessarily think I've taken too much, but I take just my, being patient and more understanding of people's culture and way of life. As far as my practice, I have been more open-minded to certain, like they love cupping and acupuncture, and there is science here and research that does support that it is effective. But my thinking of everything is there's a time and place for everything that we do. I guess just being a little bit more open to other people's ideas of things is kind of what I brought back here. Because before I was like, nope, I'm just going to do X, Y, and Z because this is what I think. Not really listening to, somebody else's background and their knowledge and what they know and experiences they've come from.
And how was that? So since we're overseas right now, so now what was first, Russia or China?
It was basically both. So the team that I worked for was a Chinese team and Chinese owned. So
Okay.
we played and stayed in China for the first year. So this is 2019.
Okay.
And we played in the Russian league. So we traveled back and forth between China and Russia.
I gotcha.
So we were back and forth the whole season. And then 2020, January. Do you guys remember January 2020? COVID. That's when it started. I was in China when COVID started.
Interesting.
Wow.
I was
literally on the front lines.
Yes, I was there.
I remember vividly, I was in Moscow and I called Daniela and I said, hey, I'm at the airport. It's bizarre. I thought it was just Asian people that wore these face masks, but all over the airport, like I've never seen this many people with masks on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before I knew what COVID was or had heard of COVID. I couldn't believe how many people over there were already masked up, and we had no clue.
Yeah.
That came quick.
It really did. Like I'll never forget.
So
like
what do you guys do over there? Like how did the season go? How did it affect the players? How did it affect the travel? I mean,
it was
because it was just such a bizarre time and not just here but worldwide.
Yeah, so we basically it was Chinese New Year. Like, so China doesn't really, like, they celebrate Christmas, but it's not like their holiday. Chinese New Year is a huge holiday in China, and it's something they're very proud of. They, like, basically all of China shuts down for an entire week, and they do this just massive celebration. Just culturally, they've been doing it for thousands of years. And so basically we had an entire week of nothing. Like, We didn't have games. We didn't have practice. We had nothing. So everybody was making plans to go, we're in Asia. We're so close to these cool places everybody wants to travel to. So all of us had plans to go travel to, like, some girls were going to Vietnam, some were going to Thailand, some were going here, some were going home. And as soon as we get back, we're all seeing that in news there that there's like this weird virus going around that nobody is quite understanding what it is. And then over the course of a couple of days, it was like blowing up, and this virus finally reached our province that we were living in China. And an article in all Chinese was sent to all of the North American players and myself. And the picture is two Chinese people in hazmat suits pushing somebody out on a gurney. So, like, let's just say the team shared COVID with us, not in the way they should. So girls were panicking. Everybody's like, we need to go home. We can't finish our season. Like, this is really, really bad. Nobody knows what this virus is. Because even in China at that time, like, no one knew what this mystery virus was. They just knew that it could present, like, essentially cold symptoms, right? And so from there, I actually had to go to our GM and our team doctor and be like, look, if you want us to finish the season, we need to move to Russia for 2 more months to finish the season.
Really?
And our GM at the time is like, no, we don't have to do that. It's not going to get that bad. Like, it's going to be okay. And I went, no, I don't think you understand. They don't understand this virus. And we're seeing more and more cases, like thousands, almost millions of cases every day. And finally, in 2 days, we packed up our entire practice facility, all our stuff, our apartments, moved to Russia to finish our season.
Interesting.
And then we saw over the next couple of months what happened with COVID.
That's
when our biggest memory is a bunch of us were flying home in March. We won 2 days prior. So we finished our season, won the league. The day we landed, we laid over in JFK. We just flew back from Russia. We landed in JFK. That was the same day that all international travel was shut down.
Wow.
Just landed in just in time.
Yeah. John, do you remember where you were when COVID hit, like, for you? Because I remember exactly where I was.
I think I was at home just watching the news going, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they were talking that it hit Italy especially hard because there's Italy's an older population. And I don't have any relatives back there that I'm aware of, but just I follow Italian culture, and they're saying Italy got devastated by it. And they were saying, again, like Hailey was saying, like, they didn't know what was causing it. They knew it was a virus, respiratory issues and everything. And I just remember going, well, we're pretty safe over here. We should be fine over here. What goes on in Europe goes on in Europe. And probably 2 or 3 days later, it's like, okay, this is a worldwide epidemic. You're just going, oh boy.
Yeah, Italy got hit so hard because it is one of the number 1 destinations for Chinese New Year.
Oh,
I did not know that.
That's fascinating.
Wow.
I know. I was in Connecticut. I was Bridgeport to see the Islanders AHL team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was up in the box. Our team, I was with Toronto at the time. The Marlies were playing, and all of a sudden, they sent all the fans home. I forget what NHL game was, but they, and that's when COVID started. That's like, oh crap, this is for real. But we gotta get off better. We gotta
seriously. We're talking hockey. Let's go some happy thoughts.
PWHL. I want to talk about the PWHL, and you've been able to see this because you were with the Whale before,
mm-hmm.
in the
PHF.
Yep. PHF. So you were with the Whale, and then you went to the Sirens,
mm-hmm.
and you saw this whole thing happen firsthand, like right in there.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Well, John's all excited right now. John, what?
No, I just want to jump in before Hailey is going, saying, I think they did a fantastic job with the inauguration of the league. I mean, there's a lot of hype to it, and it lived up to it. I watched the Walter Cup when it was being played, and the excitement level, the way they presented the trophy, the way the playoffs are, the different rules that they've tried to have, the takeover tour they did. Like, they did so many things right to promote this league. I think is just tremendous. I mean, obviously opportunity for women to play professionally.
Oh, John cut out.
Yep.
So John cut out. But okay, so that's what we see on the outside, Hailey. All right. It looked like from the outside, it looked seamless. What was like trying to pull together a whole league in short notice, and from your standpoint, you've got to worry about the safety of the players, and it must have been nutso.
I mean, yeah, it was crazy. They decided that and they were going to build an entire league in 6 months, 6 teams, 6 venues plus per team, players, staff, coaches,
owners.
It's one owner right now, but
yeah.
still you have 6 teams with 10 to 15 staff members, 20 to 30 players, and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah, it's like starting 6 different businesses at the same time.
6 months.
No.
And I can tell you that when we started last year, our first game, January 1st, I can tell you not everything was perfect, but I will never forget that game. It was a sold out crowd in Toronto. And to see what we've built and are still now even building, like every year we're going into year 3, there's a lot we still have to do. But just seeing the fan base and see that these girls finally have somewhere to play, because they've been fighting for this for how many years?
Well, they've been fighting each other, for God's sakes.
Yes, and at times, yes, they were fighting. They were fighting each other, but they were fighting for one league where they're actually respected as professional athletes.
Yeah,
I feel like this league is 100% going the right direction, and I'm excited to see what kind of changes we have over the next couple of years. Because again, it's a new league. We're going into year 3. Not everything is perfect. We're learning. We're growing as a league, as teams, individually.
It's going to take 10 years. It's going to take 10 years to.
It will, but I mean, you guys see it in the media. You see everything. Women's hockey is growing so much.
No.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the fastest growing segment of youth registrations in both the U.S. and Canada is girls in both countries playing. And then on the back end of it, women's hockey, the 35 and over, is another huge segment of people just picking the game up because, geez, I didn't know this was available. Now I saw it in the Olympics. Now I've seen it on TV, and adult women's leagues are now huge, and it's fantastic. Like, everybody should get to play hockey.
And you know what? You know what is exceptional about the league is the goaltending. Am I right, Hailey? The goaltending is outstanding in that league.
It is. Unfortunately, there's not enough teams for as many good goalies that are in this league, though.
Yeah, there isn't, right? No. So what can you tell us about your goaltenders at the Siren?
Honestly, I think we have the best core group in the league. And I don't mean just individually as how good they are, because all 3 of them are phenomenal goaltenders. But I've never met a pair of goalies that get along as well as they do. They're like the 3 best friends, to be completely honest. Okay. They're like each other's biggest fans. I feel like goalie is like the toughest position on every team, not only mentally, but physically. I personally do think this. And the fact that each one of them so badly want each other to do so well, it blows my mind. They're competing to essentially be the starting goaltender and for playing time.
Only one net.
And only one net, but all 3 of them want each other to play. So
that's fascinating. Do you find treating them and working with them different than working with the players? Were you like, yeah, that's a goalie? Or are you like, yeah, that's a goalie?
Yes and no. Treating them is it's very different. I put them on different plans than I do that of